Hey guys, Zero here, and today I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about my in development mod pack project over technical once again because I have some updates I want to discuss with you guys. I added a few mods to the pack and I have some questions I want to ask you. Unfortunately, none of these are bug fixes. I will get around to those eventually. It's just trying to figure out how to go ahead and fix those that I need to work out. But regardless, I want to welcome you guys to episode 2 of my project over technical devlog. So I had to jump as far as this pack is concerned. I did add in 4 mods to the pack specifically. I did also end up adding Embedium, which I'm not including into the mods that were added because that's just performance stuff. But I want to go and discuss what was actually added. So I went ahead and added supplementaries. If you're not familiar with supplementaries, it adds in a few vanilla-esque blocks and a few quality of life things as well. Not super useful for the sake of the actual mod pack itself, but I figured some people might find it pretty useful, so that's why that was added. So you can be the judge whether or not that's absolutely necessary or not. I just threw that in there because I figured it might be handy for some people. Next is actually this up right here, and none of these blocks are actually part of what was added, but if you listen, yeah, there's absolutely nothing, and that's actually the mod. That's not editing, that's the mod, because if I go into this menu right here, this is the Extreme Sound Muffler mod, and this allows you to turn on and off sound. So again, you can't hear anything, so if I turn this off, yep, so now it is making a bit of noise. It's not super loud from what I can tell. I don't know if I'm going to have to turn this down in editing or not. It's not very loud for me specifically, but I don't know how it's going to sound in editing. What I do know, however, is that when I was doing my playtest in my survival role for this pack, I had upwards of 4, 8, 16 in a single room in order to produce power, and I know there are better ways to produce power, but that's what I was using. Those things got incredibly loud and incredibly noxious, incredibly fast. So that's why I threw that in there, because it is incredibly useful for something like that. I'm saying incredibly way too much. But yeah, so that's what that mod added is going to do. The last 2 mods I did end up adding are in this setup right here. So right here we have a create motor at 96 RPM. And as you can tell, rotational speed controller, or sorry, speedometer, I can't think apparently. It is late at night tonight. But it's also showing 96 RPM. And in the middle, we have this energy transmitter from Ender Transmission. And that has to do with these 3 blocks up here. I'm going to grab these for now. These will come in handy a little bit later. But basically, these allow you to wirelessly transmit energy or rotational power, items, and fluid across different areas of your world and probably dimensions. Haven't tested the across dimensions part yet, but we'll figure that out eventually. I'm just going to focus on the energy transmitter for the sake of this video. I technically haven't tested either of these 2, so I'm not sure how good these are, but we'll find out eventually. So the way this works is if I actually go ahead and go into here, network 4, set to test. If I go into here, network 4, set to test, and again, 96 RPM. But if I just set to, I don't know, 3 to make it simple, now all of a sudden it doesn't do anything. So that's what it's meant to do. It's basically like the Ender Chest mod from back in the day where you can set a specific code and any Ender Chest with that specific code share the exact same inventory. So that's basically what this is. Let's go ahead and go into the last mod, which is create transmission, and adds in this single block / item. And basically what this does is it acts like a chain drive, like you can see right here. If I were to get rid of this, I can do the exact same thing with the transmission. And if I do the same thing on this side, yeah, it does it around corners, which is incredibly useful. Now, it does technically take up a block space because I can't even place this right here. I can, however, place this right there. So it does, again, take up a block space, but it is a lot sleeker. It is a lot cleaner. It looks a lot nicer. So that's why that was included into the pack. And again, This is all brand new mods. Again, I did include Embedium for performance issues, but like I said, not including that in the pack specifically. But this is super, super handy to have in this pack. And I have one more thing that I actually need to go ahead and discuss for this. And it actually takes place on the moon. So we're going to go through here, through my teleporter, to actually go to the moon. So I'll meet you there as soon as my game decides to actually render the chunks. In order to discuss this, I have two things I need to go ahead and discuss. First off is the structures up here. Technically also down there as well, but I'll get to that in a moment. And the first one is these structures right here. And basically when I make a base in space, I made these myself. These are little domes that I ended up constructing myself. I've got a little, a medium, or a small, medium, and a large. I have one for all 4 different planets: Moon, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. I think I got those 2 backwards. But basically what I do is I just put a door on either side and make a little tunnel right here. Not part of the actual structures themselves. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want to know if you guys actually want me to add these as buildable structures in the default mod pack in the schematics folder. I do want to go ahead and throw in a little bit of a poll down in the description of things that I have questions for you guys regarding the pack itself. So this is going to be one of those questions. Now, speaking of structures, this behemoth right here, not included. And there's a very important reason for that. And that's because this was actually the exact same model for the build from another mod called Matter Overdrive. I ported it over from that, adjusted some of the blocks, and rebuilt it from there. I was just experimenting around to see how it would look. So this specifically, not going to be added into the mod pack if you guys even want these added to the pack itself, unless the developers of Matter Overdrive are okay with it, in which case I will probably add it if you guys want these. But again, that is not going in. That is the initial guarantee. Again, I need permission from the Matter Overdrive devs before I even consider it. So do keep that in mind, but I want to experiment around regardless. So I actually do need to go inside of here to show off the last thing. And this is actually pertaining to one of the bugs that I was experiencing quite a bit ago. Actually, I've been experiencing the entire time with this pack, and I did mention this in the last video. So if I go into survival mode, I should be able to survive. Yeah, the system should survive. So I have a regular wrench in here, an extended wrench right here, which, if you don't remember, extended wrenches allows you to customize your wrench to whatever you want it to look like. I did add zinc to this particular wrench, but that's not important. The reason I bring this up is because I actually do have a mod to allow me to vein mine create mod stuff with the wrench, which is incredibly handy. Extended wrenches, for whatever reason, does not like it. The regular wrench is okay with it. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is, but yeah, it doesn't like it. Now, I can still do the normal breaking with it, but that's about it. I can't actually do, you know, the vein mine part of it. And so this is where my first question regarding this pack is concerned. Actually, my second question now that I think about it. So here's what I'm wondering. Do I either remove one or the other? Do I either remove the wrench vein mine mod, or do I remove the extended wrenches mod? Or the third option is to keep both of them and try to work out bug fixes for it. So that's the next question that I want to go ahead and ask regarding that. So yeah, again, we have the structures outside, and then the wrench problem with this. I still got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Now, the third question that I want to ask is regarding the actual cosmetics of the pack itself. I have the title logo that I made for the pack itself, and I do, of course, have a brand new logo for the actual pack itself. Like the Create My Its Own logo, this is the new logo that I made for the pack as well. So I want you guys' feedback on this specifically. I haven't fully decided if I'm going to commit to the name itself or if I actually want to change the name. I do kind of like the name because it is kind of an interesting name in my opinion. I realize it's not a great description, but you guys should hopefully get what I mean. But yeah, I want to know what you guys' feedback on the title and the logo are. And one final word of mention is that I actually got in contact with one of my old friends, the Gaming Cyclone, who now goes by the name of Chuckles. And he's actually reached out to me a little bit ago to offer help with this pack, which is awesome. And one of the things that he discussed was custom background on the main menu and the custom main menu in general, which is super awesome of him to offer. I do appreciate it. What's your guys' opinion on that specifically? A custom main menu for the pack. What's your opinions on this? And I'm going to be 100% honest here. I tried to work on this on the very first version of this pack, and I could not figure it out, not because it was impossible to learn, but because I was trying to put in a panorama and it just didn't work. But yeah, those are the things that I have so far in this pack. Again, this is still in development, and I do not have a planned time for release for the pack specifically. I might consider private beta testing for people who might be interested, like bigger content creators. If they are interested in doing a private beta test, I am open to it, but it's not going to be open to the public for quite some time. I just want to get some of the bugs ironed out for that. But yeah, that's all I have for the sake of this video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure that like button. If you want more, make sure that subscribe for future content. But yeah, with that, I will see you guys later.